everybody travels home safe. I don't know if we're on air anywhere. I hope everybody travels home safe, and we're able to battle the rain that held off until post game. So it was great to see the Swamp alive. I mean, unbelievable atmosphere. The fans, they certainly did their part. Margin for error in this game so small, and the Gator Nation certainly showed up today and did their part. And I thank all of them for what they did. And it was a fun game to be a part of. You love these games. It's, I've been 10 years since you've had that game here in the Swamp, and hopefully, as I've talked about, we move forward. We play them more often, and be honest with you, I hope we play them really soon, like later this season. But I want that opportunity. But our fans, it was great SEC football.
Edgar.
Yeah, Dan. So what's your main takeaway from this game? I mean, you guys came so close again. There was a missed extra point. There was a lot of pass interference penalties that helped them score some touchdowns. And I'm throwing a lot at you, but what's going through?
Well, when we play in big games, the margin for error is going to be so small. You look at a turnover margin. That we had one, they had none. As you said, we gave up some first downs on penalties, pass interference calls. They're judgment calls, can go either way. But we gave up too many first downs penalty wise to allow them to keep some drives alive. And early on, a couple errors early on weren't good. As you said, missed extra point. We had a missed assignment on the 2-point play. But I mean, you're going to go back and watch the film, and you're going to see, a bunch of stuff, really, to be honest with you, and very little things, but I do think our guys, I like the attitude of this team. I like the effort this team has. I think it's going to be really exciting to see our response at practice this week. I really do. Because, I never doubted the effort that our team was going to give. And I never, the attitude our guys would have. Our guys certainly, as I told, our guys expected to win the game today. Coming into it, I know they're disappointed, but when you play in championship level games, the margin for error is going to get extremely small. And it's going to be a player or two here. And I hope our guys, and I think coaches, everybody, we got to point those out. We got to embrace that at practice this week. We got to come together as a team that way, in that positive energy of eliminating every little error, at practice within our preparation, and have it show out in our performance next week against Tennessee.
Well, you said it. And what'd you think of the grit of your team? I mean, you guys are down 21-3 first quarter. It looked like the game was over from where we were sitting.
Yeah. I think early on, I think they kind of came out and hit some plays on us, a couple mistakes, but once we settled down into the game, as I told you, their guys expected to win the game. So, they were looking, we just dug ourselves an early hole that we had to dig out of. And we did, just came up a play, again, I don't know. There's so many different things you can point to during the course of the game that could flip it one way or the other. And, we got to find a way to make those plays to always flip it in our direction.
Mark Long.
Again, how close was it with Anthony Richardson playing? And is that kind of did that with Pitts last year too?
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those deals. When you have a hamstring, it's not kind of like a sprained ankle. When you look at injuries, there's injuries that, hey, he can go on it. It's not going to get worse. He might not be 100%, but he's not going to make it worse during the course of the game. He's not going to be 100%. And if he plays, he could definitely make it worse. So that was one we talked about going into the game. We did an MRI yesterday. He was actually ahead of where we thought he would be, which is really positive for next week with him. But it was one going into the game. We talked about, I know I don't share the plan with you, but I say everybody knows the plan. He knew he was going to go in a backup mode only and really just kind of have to be a drop back passer, have to be kind of an eye for, a stand in the pocket only, not run around, hand the ball off quarterback. And, fortunately Emory stayed healthy. I thought Emory really kind of stepped up his game this week, I thought had a pretty darn good game. But it'll be great to, hopefully as this week goes, get Anthony back 100% as well.
And then you touched on Emory, but how big and just crucial was that last drive? Yeah.
I mean, huge. I mean, just you look at the team and the attitude of the team. I mean, to just take us, last couple drives, the 99-yard drive. I mean, you just can't flinch in game situations. And these guys didn't flinch today. They just kept battling, put us in a position. We were right there with an opportunity to be within 2 points there at the end of the game.
David Whitley.
Dan, take us through that 2-point play. Did you say that there was a missed assignment on that?
Yeah, there was two. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the play, but we had a guy line up wrong and then a guy go the wrong way.
Okay, it was going to be a running play though.
Possibly. Well, there's a couple options within the play. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into the specifics of what the actual play call was and what our design on that play was, and draw it up for you.
Okay, thanks.
Dennis Dodd.
Dan, you played these guys as close as anybody's played them the last two times with two really, I guess, disparate sort of offensive approaches, at least. Why is that? Why are you so much trouble for these guys?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think one thing a lot of teams play Alabama, and I think they sometimes don't think they're going to win the game. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, our guys certainly they certainly expected to win the game. Played that way. We did last year. We did this year. I think that's maybe a big part of it. I think our guys here, you come to Florida, our guys are excited. Where we're headed as a program, I think, I talked about it when I got here. I want a team that can compete for championships on a consistent basis. And to do that, to compete for championships, you're going to have to beat Alabama. And as everybody said last year, what's the margin? Last year it was 6 points. This year it's 2, and hopefully we get one more shot at it and get an opportunity to compete for another championship as we move forward. But, that's what we want to be as a program. And that's what our guys, how we prepare and we expect heading out there on the field.
There are no moral victories, but in a game like this, can you prove what you just talked about? You come here to compete, to win, to play for championships.
Absolutely. I think, you come into the game. I don't know if they knew where they were at and we knew where we were at coming into this game sometimes after the first 2 games of the season. You got game 1, you're learning they're certainly a very different team than they were last year. We're a very different team than we were last year. Even though we played 9 months earlier or whatever it was, 2 different kind of teams lining up against each other today. And, after the first 2 games, you still have some questions. I think we have the opportunity to be a pretty good team this year. There's a lot of things we've got to fix up and we have to get better at. But I think we have an opportunity to be a pretty good football team. I think give them credit. They're an excellent football team. Obviously, Nick does a great job within the program and continuing to have guys play at an extremely high level. But I thought, I thought we had a good plan offensively and defensively, and I thought our guys executed really well for the most part.
Thanks.
Jensen.
Hey, Coach. So no points given up to Alabama in the entire second quarter. What did you talk to your defense about after the first quarter to get that level of play?
Just to relax, just make tackles, do your job. Don't try to make plays. I think sometimes guys, you get in big environments, guys try to make plays. And what you have to understand, and explain this the right way, because I know what my thought is, I got to make sure I explain it to you the right way, is do your job within the scheme call, whether it's offense, defense, even defense. We go out there, okay, we make the call, execute the defense call. And if you do that within that scheme, you're going to have the opportunity to make plays if you do what you're supposed to do. Just don't get out of it and say, okay, I'm going to try to do something different to make a great play over here. The plays will come to you. And I think our guys, we got them to relax a little bit and, just go out there and execute. And they did, I think we really executed clean moving forward in the game.
And then a follow-up to that is, with only 10 points being allowed in the rest of the game after the first quarter, what defensively can be taken from this game going into the rest of the season?
I think just that. I think the guys believing in what we're doing defensively. I thought Todd and his staff had a great scheme today. Really did a good job. putting the guys out there in position to make plays on the field. I thought, on the back end, we have a very young secondary going against, a bunch of talented guys. I thought those guys really stepped up and played, got up there and played well. A couple of penalties here and there that are, right there, bang, bang plays. And, but I like the aggressiveness and I like the confidence our guys played with.
Thank you.
Zach Huber.
Hey, Coach, what offensively, what changed after the first quarter?
I don't know why. Were we much better after that? Probably better play calls. No. I think getting into the flow of the game, our guys settled down. I thought we're moving the ball. I thought we moved the ball most of the night. We had a 3 and out there early. But I think our guys settling down and making plays and being comfortable and making plays and the trust of executing and doing their job. I think one of the coming into the game, one of the big things, we wanted to be able to run the ball. We were able to run the ball. Very rarely do you see that big a disparity when you play Alabama in the rushing attack. Came out, we had over more than 100 yards more than they did. And, there's little things we got to fix. Like we got to finish drives and get points, at the end of drives there and put ourselves in the lead. I would have loved to get that lead and heard the Gator crowd with the lead.
Yeah, then what does Florida need to do better on third down defense to get off the field?
Well, you're going to look at it. There's going to be a bunch of things. We had a missed tackle or two in there. We had a penalty or two in there. So I think, those things. And, first, let's give them credit. They have some pretty talented players too, offensively. So, in that type of game, it's all the little things like that it comes down to. Let's see, we're 7 of 13. Yeah, we need to be a little bit better on third down, but 4 of them I think were penalties. So, just little things like that we got to get cleaned up.
Nick.
Coach, what do you think this game can do for Emori just in terms of his development and his confidence?
Well, I think, for him, I think it gets him just relax. In the first couple of games, you learn a lot. I haven't called plays with Emori as the primary quarterback before, and he hasn't been out there on the field running he's come in situations. But he came in, coming in when you're the starter, you got to come in and you got to manage everything. There's a lot on your plate. And, I think, him getting comfortable now. I think, I'll tell you, kind of surprisingly, he was as just relaxed and comfortable with everything happening out there on the field, way more than he was the last 2 weeks, which, you're like, hey, you're playing in that Alabama's defense. And I'm kind of relaxed and comfortable. I think he's just kind of now he's getting into the flow of this is how we game plan. This is what we do. This is how I apply the game plan to who we're playing. And, I think you saw him being a much more comfortable guy out there today. Even his interception was a great read. He's getting hit. He was trying to get it out right on time. He made the perfect read, going to the guy. And as he's get hit, the ball caused a sail on him as he got hit right as he was releasing. I'm going back in the game and I didn't see many, if you look over the first couple of weeks, I thought he played pretty good with some drastic errors. I think everybody freaks out because some of his errors the first couple of weeks were like bad. It wasn't like I played really good and then made a couple of mistakes. It was like I played really good and then it was like, what was that? I don't think of one big error. I can't even think of an error he made today, like a bad one at all during the course of the game.
Is it fair to say I think you kind of mentioned it, you're still learning him and the offense as well as you see them live?
Yeah, you get into that. You get that feeling, that comfort level of what guys, when you practice against each other, practice is great, but there is a little bit of difference from being out there on the field in those atmospheres playing great teams. And it's getting that everybody on the same page and getting that comfort level with not just the quarterback position, everybody. Where's everybody at? And when we're out there on game day, what are guys doing at a really high level that we need to continue to focus and put them in a situation to do things well.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, we have time for Andrea, and then we'll close with Cassidy.
Coach, what do you think this game can do for Emori just in terms of his development and his confidence?
Well, I think
Dan, I wanted to ask you a follow-up to what Dennis was asking you about earlier. Do you feel like you're closer to having a team that can consistently play for and win championships at this point?
We're getting there. Well, we had the opportunity last year to play for the SEC championship, fell 6 points short. The team, number one team in the country, are 2 points short today. So I think we're getting there. I think we're at a point where we can compete. We got to get there to the point right now where we're going to go win. And I think that's the hunger in the locker room. I mean, you see our guys in the locker room, they want to win they want to win that game. It wasn't like, hey, we played a great game. I think there's legitimate some disappointment that we didn't win the game because we expected to. But we got to keep building, got to keep recruiting, keep coaching, keep developing here. I think certainly everybody's on board making that happen. Right now we have unbelievable support from our administration. We're going to, within the next, 9 months, we're opening up an unbelievable football facility for the future for our guys, not just for recruiting purposes, but for the training and everyday purpose for our players. You go out there in the swamp, there's no atmosphere like game day in the swamp when it's rocking. Our fan base, our student body, the Gator Nation bought into what we're doing and creating that environment. So, we got to get it back where the Gators are competing in our recruiting. We got to continue to recruit well, to get it back where we're competing for championships every year.
Cassidy.
Top-notch operation we got running here. After the SEC championship, you mentioned the trenches being sort of a specific area that you knew you needed to improve on to face Alabama again. What is your immediate takeaway maybe from today? Are there some specifics, or do you feel like you're closer to being equal, but it's just one or two plays that can go the wrong way?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at, you can flip a couple plays in that game and they'll change the course of the outcome of the game. But I do think we played much better up front today. But that's a little focus more on this year's team, of where we're at. We're a little bit more veteran in our front sevens on both sides of the ball than we were last year. Last year, you kind of, all the superstars are out on the perimeter and taking the snap and throwing the ball down the field. In the interior part, we're a little bit more veteran, a little bit more experienced this year. Our backs run the ball really hard. Our quarterbacks are athletic and compete with the run game a little bit, and they do it, so we're going to be a little bit of a different team. And then, our wideouts on the outside, I thought did a heck of a job today. I don't know, one of the things that gets, you look at Jacob Copeland, 1 catch for 10 yards, and 2 pass interference penalties for 30 yards that they had to tackle him, or he would have had an explosive play type of deal. It's so the guys on the outside, maybe not on the stat sheet getting the credit, but when they're, now they're loading the box to stop the run, we're getting one-on-one shots on the outside, and those guys are winning. We want to, make those plays become more explosive and actual catches. But I think those guys did a pretty good job down the field.
And then I think this is twice now you've held Alabama scoreless. Only twice in like 40 some odd quarters they've been held scoreless, and it's been you guys both times. What can you sort of build off from with this defensive performance, especially knowing you were still sort of learning this young secondary the first 2 games?
Well, like I said, I'm really excited to see how we come out on Monday, because we need to build off of this. I know people think this is crazy, but next week becomes an even bigger game. You're talking Florida, Tennessee on Saturday night in the Swamp, Eastern Division rivalry. I mean, it's that this game has no effect on our Eastern Conference record right now. And, we completely control everything we want to do still for the rest of the season. And hopefully our guys, that's why I want to see that attitude, that when we show up on Monday, that kind of hunger, after the SEC championship game, in the locker room, I saw a little bit of a hunger from our guys about next season, and we want to put ourselves back in a position to go win and get back to Atlanta. And even in January came back, our guys that desire to get back and compete for a championship. I want to see that on Monday, that hunger to go sit there and say, hey, we're going to fix those couple things. That attention to detail. I mean, the laser focus on guys communicating and picking each other up. It's a really fine line between hey, I'm yelling at guys and pointing fingers and you need to do this and you need to do that, instead of picking each other up and saying, hey, here's the call. Here's what it is. Let's do this. And I want to see that attitude and from our guys, of everybody kind of coming together to make those plays and correct, erase that 2-point margin.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up to that. Is some of that maybe finding a voice to replace Ventrill?
Yeah, but Ventrill, here's the great thing. Ventrill is out there. His voice is still out there. He might not be out there on Saturday on the field with the 11 guys that are making the call, but his voice is still present every day as a captain, and that shows why he was voted captain by his teammates. And it shows his character and the type of person he is, that voice is still very much strongly within our team and on this at every single practice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Is that good? Everybody good?